Hi, and welcome to this informational session about Sandhills Youth and Community Theater. Sandhills Youth Community Theater is a nonprofit organization. It is an organization of professional Christian actors, youth actors, and shows with biblical themes. We seek to do three things. The first is to develop Christian authors and plays by Christian authors that have biblical themes and ones that point to Christ. They don't necessarily have to do this in a very obvious manner, but they do have to send a biblical message whether or not the audience realizes that's what's happening. The second is we'd like to cultivate young actors, specifically Christian young actors, but all actors are welcome. Our goal is to pair them with industry professionals. These professionals will be their mentors and their role models during our rehearsal and performance periods. So every professional actor may have 3 or 4 kids that they work with, that they assist, that they give instruction to behind the scenes, and that they set an example for when it comes to being a professional and being a Christian. Lastly, we'd like to demonstrate the ideals that, or demolish the idea that Christian is a non-theater organization, that we don't believe that theater is valuable, because theater is very useful, and especially to the Christian message, especially to the idea that we can get the gospel out to a wide variety of people easily and effectively through the use of theater and live drama. We also want to promote the idea that God loves everyone. I think that a lot of people in the theater world have had negative experiences, or they have been demeaned in some way because they weren't like a particular group of Christians, and we want to demolish that idea. Our upcoming season has 4 very strong plays. Some of them will incorporate children, some of them will not. The first is The Christians. Students in high school will be welcomed into this play. The Christians is about a pastor of a mega church who grew his church from the ground up. But as he grows it, his theology sort of begins to change. And he can't figure out whether what he feels in his heart is accurate and scriptural or whether it's misleading, and the craziness that ensues afterward. Here's a trailer. All right, now that the trailer has played, our next show is a completely adult-themed show. This one is called Freud's Last Session. It will be staged with just 2 actors, both of whom are professionals. And it's the story of C.S. Lewis visiting Sigmund Freud, for the last week of his life. They have a very long conversation where Freud defends his beliefs and C.S. Lewis defends his. This is a really good choice for a show because it spreads the Christian message well without making someone think that they are somehow less because they don't believe the same way. And it sort of highlights the ridiculousness of Freud's defense of what he believes and C.S. Lewis's defense. Our next show will be one of the plays that we're developing for a Christian author. That author is Jamie Roscoe. Jamie wrote a play called The Story Inside My Head, and it's the story of a young woman who is facing a whole lot of difficulties in her life, and she's trying to understand how to put those pieces together with her new reality. And somehow the character of the story she's writing seems to sort of come to life and give her inspiration and guide her the way that God speaks and guides us in different ways. Our final show of the year will be the blockbuster money-making show. That will be Annie. Annie, of course, is the story of a poor orphan who spends 2 weeks with the richest man on earth. And it's a really, really good analogy to how Christ loved and adopted us into his family, even though we didn't deserve it, the same way Annie is adopted by Warbucks and doesn't deserve it. And here's the trailer for that show. So some of the people on our board of directors are Dr. Stephen and Patricia Coble. Move that. There we go. Sherry Rayford, and this is her husband, Steve. They are both already artistic directors of other theater productions and companies, and they have a lot of experience. Pastor Dale Sauls, who is a mover and a shaker in the business world, and also a good leader when it comes to making wise Christian choices. Dr. Angela Bright Pearson and her husband Bruce, they have been a leader in the theater school community for quite a while. And Wesley Soule. Wesley is a set builder and a set designer, as well as a theater producer in his own right. So all of these people have a lot of experience when it comes to leading nonprofit organizations, Christian organizations, and theater. Our artistic director is Cheryl Davis. She has been in quite a few Shakespeare shows, has been teaching theater for 5 years. She holds a master's in education and a master's in theater from Regent University. Currently, she's teaching at a Christian school and leading things there, as well as leading this organization. And she likes words. So some of the interesting information for our local market. Sanford is a relatively small city in a small county. There are 50,000 people total in the county. 29,000 of those live in the city. The median income is $42,000, and there are about 22% of people in poverty. It's not exactly a rich area, but it does have a very strong theater tradition. There is a local regional theater here in Sanford that is fairly successful, so people in the city are pretty used to going to the theater. We're also surrounded by a bunch of big cities, Fayetteville, Raleigh, Greensboro, which are all within an hour's drive. So lots of people would come a bit of a ways to see a good Christian show as well. 78% of the people in the county have attained a high school diploma, median house value, veterans. Interestingly, Lee County is 46% Caucasian, 25% African American or people Black, 23% Hispanic. There is quite a strong Hispanic culture here, and 0.03% other. So it's a fairly good mix of Caucasian and people of color in this county. For the theater currently running, the last 4 years of ticket sales, you can see that we averaged 226 seats sold per show at an average of $10 per ticket. The upcoming shows will cost more because they are becoming more professional. This was all student actors. So as we bring in our professionals, we will pay more, and therefore we will have to charge more for tickets, but we'll also draw a larger crowd. Positioning and branding. Sandhills Youth and Community Theater is dedicated to producing quality shows with biblical themes. We want everyone to have the idea that it's not our job to choose someone's destiny. It's simply our job to point them in the right direction. We take our motto from Proverbs chapter 10, verse 12, which says, "Hatred stirs up conflict, love conquers all wrongs." The main aim of every one of our employees is going to be to show love to the people around them, even if that means we disagree with you on certain aspects. Our overall objectives and goals for this year are to increase our average ticket sales by 20%, which means we sell at least 271 tickets per show. We're going to do that through direct marketing, which we will increase. We would like to increase our current subscribers. We haven't any right now, so building our subscriber base to 25 subscribers per season would be awesome. We will increase our Facebook advertising and target specific areas with that. We will increase our presence in the local community, such as attending the Christmas parade, the tree lighting, the egg hunt, church carnivals, the second Sunday event in downtown. We also will visit local churches and start getting our name out that way by doing small skits or sketches from different shows to highlight whatever the pastor's message might be, and to let people know that we exist. Our current capital fund has raised $10,000, and money needed to continue this is listed with building fees, title search. Basically, we have $10,000 in order to do all that we'd like to do using the stage that we use, which is the Mann Center of North Carolina. Our total price for the year for our capital budget is $83,260. For our production budget, we do have a sponsor for each of the shows. with the exception of Annie right now. We also received a grant from the local area because this Annie is not a Christian show. We got more. We estimate, whoopsie, go back one. We estimate about $24,000 per ticket sales. That's a 60% fill rate for the house, and we estimate $32,000 for Annie just because tickets will be a little more expensive. We hope to get a whole bunch more student matinee people in that show as well. So our total income will be $171,758 projected. Projected expenses, and there's of course a wide variety of expenses that you can see here. But ultimately, our total expenses will come to about $101,875. So that is a decent chunk of change left in profit to go back into our operating budget the following year. You can see that our net revenue is $171,000, followed by estimated donations, grants, and funding, money we might make in concessions. So we're estimating $225,000 for the year. When we take all of our expenses out, those are about $98,000. So that gives us a surplus of $25,000 going into the next budget year. And that's the end of our presentation. I hope you enjoyed learning about our theater. Thank you.